right before the empath transforms or upgrades or steps into a whole new level of their personality and their power, many times they will disconnect. Whether they want to or not, many times they will feel disconnected. They will feel like not wanting to be around people. They will feel maybe even burnt out, physically burnt out by just the ordinary obligations of their daily life. And unfortunately, so many empathic people who are like right on the edge of a huge transformation, and they're experiencing the burnout, the melancholy, the depression, the anxiety, the disconnection. They feel like there's something wrong with them, and they beat themselves up and they create a problem out of it. But here's this video is all about that. It's all about why an empath goes through this before they transform. What are very normal symptoms of this transformation, and what is maybe something that you need to deal with? But I bet if you're watching videos like this and attracting videos like this into your life, that you're of the variety of the people who are just going through a shift right now, going through a major upgrade in your consciousness and in your life. And this video is going to share with you why you might be experiencing some of this stuff, the fatigue, the insomnia, the melancholy, the feeling disconnected from things that used to bring you pleasure and satisfaction, feeling trapped maybe even in your life, all normal, all part of the shift. So anyways, welcome to my YouTube channel, my friends. My name is Victor Oddo, and I'm happy to have you here, and I'll see you inside the video. The first impulse you might have is to create space in your life. Just like an animal, most animals, when they're sick, they will intuitively or instinctively, they will fast. They will go off and they will rest. Ever have a dog or a cat and you see what they do when they get sick? They don't get sick all that often, right? But when they do, what do? They go off, they take space, they rest, they don't really eat much, and then they come back, hopefully, and they're feeling right as rain. It's a very natural thing, but it's more forgiving for your pet, you know. But when you are in your life and in your relationships and in your career, and you have housework to do and bathrooms to clean and all these kind of things, it's like there are consequences to doing that, and it's very easy to get kind of backed up. And there's a lot of mental reasons and sort of like societal conditioned circumstances that make it very difficult, unfortunately, to give ourselves the time and the space that we need. And right now you might be listening to this and agreeing with me and saying, yeah, like nodding your head. I get it, Vic, but I can't afford to take time and space. I don't have the time to give myself more time. And that's completely valid. And I'm not here to tell you to make time or to think differently. I get it. I have 3 kids. I have a wife. I have pets, house, jobs, different things I do. And a lot of things aren't going to get done if I don't do them. But here's the nice thing. What I've learned is it doesn't take that much. A lot of times what can happen is when we sort of deny this part of ourselves that need just a little rest, a little space, and we just say we can't do it, we deny it, that's when we become kind of chronically fatigued and require a longer process or recovery. This used to be me. I used to completely ignore these impulses for like the first decade of my awakening. I would become, because I didn't understand it, I would deny it. Like, nope, I'm just going to push through. That was my mentality. And I'd always find myself getting sick or injured, or life would take me out of the game. Now I do my best to kind of heed the little earlier warning signs. And what I've noticed, if I do that, and if you do that, again, it doesn't take that much. 20-minute nap in the middle of the day. I've been doing this lately, actually. It's been a godsend. Can do the trick. Cold shower in the morning. Not listening to music on your way to work, and instead slowing down your breathing. And in fact, for a fun little experiment, I challenge you to, for the rest of the video as you're watching, to try to slow your breathing down. I want to show you that you can give yourself this time and space without necessarily stopping all the different things you have to do in life. So just for this video, see if you can slow your breathing down to roughly 6 breaths or less per minute, which sounds like very slow, but if you think about it, it's like this. It's counting to 5 on the inhale and exhale. So just watch this. That may have been a little fast with my hands, but it's something within your grasp. And I challenge you to do that. Just breathe slowly and mindfully as you watch this video. And at the end of the video, comment below and let me know how that felt. I'd be very curious. Another thing you might find it important to do is to like disconnect from people as much as possible. And the empath knows intuitively already that when they're around people, you tend to kind of merge with them in a way. Not in a bad way. It's just what we are, our energy field will say it extends way outside of our body. So when you're with a group of people, you're immersed in a bunch of different energy bodies. And it rubs off on you, does it not? You already know this. But when it's time for you to like disconnect in the way I'm saying, it's time for you to kind of excavate a deeper layer of yourself. And this requires like being in your own energy, in essence. That's the way my friend Aaron Dowdy always says this. He always says, I need to be in my own energy. He likes to do a lot of things with lots of people. He runs live events and he's a coach and he's like out there in the mainstream with his millions of followers. And in order for him to do that so well, he oftentimes has to create space where, as he says, be in his own energy. And that's a very, very important thing for the empath to learn to do. And this might require setting a boundary. This might require you doing, speaking up or just sort of giving yourself the time, which can be hard because I know you're probably thinking, I have so many things I got to do, Vic. I can't justify this. You need it. It's essential. It really is essential. That's why your body is like yearning for it. And that's one of the reason is being in your own energy is what allows you to kind of see what's going on and to be able to like notice the new parts of yourself coming online, which oftentimes come bearing gifts, gifts of creative breakthroughs, gifts of solutions, gifts of just new, exciting, expansive ideas, life directions, inner guidance. It's being in your own energy. One of the most challenging aspects of this process of transformation is when you disconnect from the things that used to make you happy. When you feel a numbness, a lack of joy, a lessening of the satisfaction you once had for something that might still be a big part of your life. It can be very confusing and very discouraging. This happened to me when I was a fitness trainer. From the time I was like 14 years old, for whatever reason, I was obsessed with working out. By the time I was 16, I'd have like all my buddies over in my basement and I would be training them and I'd have notes for each one and writing them diet plans. And I was like a personal trainer while in high school, essentially. And then, of course, as time went on, I became a personal trainer. About 10 years later, I was a gym owner. I owned my own personal training studio. It was a culmination of about a decade of passion and hard work and just dedication to this one thing that not only gave me a tremendous amount of satisfaction and joy, but it was also a huge part of my identity. My persona was the Victor, the fitness guy. And at the peak of my success, when things finally paid off and I sort of created a career that supported my family out of this, the joy started to kind of slip away. The stress began to accumulate. That same resistance I was discussing a little bit earlier, it started to get heavier and heavier and heavier. I started to encounter bizarre problems. It became very obvious to me that this part of my life is drawing to a close, and I didn't know why. I didn't know what I would do next. I didn't know who I was without this. And it took me some time to kind of come to terms with this and accept this. And eventually I did. And what I realized was I had to go through that. I had to let go. Not because it was wrong, not because it was a mistake or inauthentic. It's because we're human beings. We're dynamic. We change and we grow. And it's just time to move on to the next iteration of my soul's journey on earth. And you know what happened? Is many of the things that I liked about training, I was able to sort of experience, but in a very different way. I liked working with people, I liked helping people, I liked listening to people, I liked coaching people, I liked instructing and teaching people. All of that I do to this day, but in a deeper way. You know, the empath will disconnect when essentially it's time to uncover another layer of their purpose, their life purpose. There's a book I read by David Dieta, I believe. It's a kind of a book about masculinity. It's called The Way of the Superior Man or something. It sounds kind of like misogynistic, but it's not. It's actually good. You know, ladies, if you get your husband to read that book, you'll like it, I think, a lot of the things he says. But one of the things he talks about was finding your purpose. And he described a life purpose like an onion, and there are different layers to it. For a long time, I was kind of expressing just one particular layer, the fitness guy, the fitness journey. But because I started to go through the same sort of awakening experience you're going through, if you watch videos like this, you start to kind of change and go through these layers like faster and faster and faster and faster. But unfortunately, it's not this even exchange. I'll let go of this purpose and easily because I know this one's right then and there. All it is you have the purpose and God basically asked you, let it go. And for a while you don't know why you had to let it go. It doesn't make sense to you, but eventually something else will come and catch your attention and fill you with an even deeper level of excitement, joy, satisfaction, compassion, joy, expansiveness, excitement, satisfaction. There are deeper levels of it. But in order to get to those deeper levels and those deeper layers, you have to go through this sort of sometimes drawn out period of confusion and uncertainty and is letting go of something that it doesn't make logical sense yet as to why you feel compelled to let it go. And the final piece is by far the most painful. An empath will disconnect even from what you might call God, source, your divine origin, your true essence. You will experience oftentimes kind of a prolonged period of disconnection from that. And when this happens, everything feels dull, hollow, everything looks gray. And it doesn't matter what you're doing, who you're with, what you have going on. There's this undeniable emptiness. It can also feel like you've lost your way. It can feel like you're no longer being sort of led through life by the higher forces, like they've somehow forgotten you or something. This is what they call the dark night of the soul. This is a term coined by St. John of the Cross back in like the 1500s. He was this Spanish Christian mystic, and he wrote a book called The Dark Night of the Soul, and it's all about this. And one of like the main, like I would say like the biggest thing this guy like focused on was this very experience. Because back in the day, this would happen to people who had like dedicated their lives to God in some form or another. So when these people, they would sacrifice a lot of the things that most people would be involved in, and they would just go all in with their pursuit of establishing and strengthening this divine union and bond. So you can imagine when they, after all that work, all that sacrifice, all that effort, felt abandoned by God. It's a very painful part of the growing process. But anyway, he wrote about that because it's such a difficult thing to experience and to endure. There's nothing No words can even really describe it. It's a very unique experience where you just know something's missing, something important, something fundamental to your very own nature, and you don't know why. You don't know what to do about it. You don't know if it's ever going to return. And the idea of going through life in this way is very bleak. But as St. John of the Cross says, the brighter the light, the more it will blacken the soul. The more disconnected you feel, the more present God actually is. It's just an illusion. It's a temporary recalibration experience. And empaths, a lot of them are going through this very thing right now, where you may have been feeling just lost, not sure where your life is headed, not sure why all the old stuff no longer fits, not understanding why you feel cut off. It's a dark night of the soul, but this happens when you're going through a rapid period of spiritual upgrade and evolution. And the result of that is a return of all the things. And I bet you even feel this and sense this intuitively. You might have this whole time had the sense that all of this is happening for not just any reason, but a good reason, a worthwhile reason. And even though you can't for the life of you see how that could possibly be, somehow deep down, you know. There's this email I sent out to my newsletter list many years ago. I want to tell you about. The subject line was "Words fail me, ... And the whole thing was, words fail me by just how fast everything can turn around. That's kind of the exhilarating part of this type of shift. It comes in these extremes, extreme disconnection, feeling extremely cut off, extremely confused, extremely lost, extremely frustrated, extremely afraid. And then in an instant, it can take one thought, one thing, and all of a sudden you feel yourself kind of reconnecting. But this time it's stronger, that divine presence, that sense of being exactly where you're meant to be at that moment in your life is stronger. Your ability to experience joy and gratitude and have fun becomes easier. You start to find joy in even the smallest things, the little things, because your consciousness is continuing to expand, and with it is this genuine sense of connectedness with all things. But for whatever reason, as we are all finding, for this process to unfold, there are these temporary periods of contraction and uncomfortable periods of disconnection that precede these spiritual gifts. And I don't mean psychic abilities, even though that is part of it. I mean the gifts. Adyashanti calls this grace, an awakening to who you truly are. It's kind of as he says, it's like consciousness waking up to itself. It doesn't really require us to do anything many times. It's just something that it just starts to happen. But this is kind of how it goes. And this is why I make videos like this, because no one told me this. And like you, I found myself feeling just out of sorts completely, intensely, for no reason I could discover. And then I just, over the last 20 years of my life and working with thousands of people, I've come to realize that, these periods, they come before you have a huge upgrade. An old friend of mine, Forrest, he was a meditation teacher, and he would tell me that his meditation students, after many years of meditating, would oftentimes find themselves at kind of a sticking point. And he said, unfortunately, many of these people, they would drop off, they would quit, they'd feel like it's a waste of their time because their meditation, even after all that time, was getting worse. They're putting in the time and counting the mantras, but there's no peace. There's no progress, and they feel like more in their head. Their thoughts are racier than when they even began. And he said, if they can just hang in there a little bit longer, what he realized would happen all the time is these seekers, They would all of a sudden just, going about the meditation as usual, and all of a sudden just drop in to a whole new dimension of consciousness. And you don't have to believe what I'm saying. I don't expect this video even to make you feel better, honestly. But I would ask you to ask yourself honestly what you believe. I know I've been through these periods. I went through a rough one this last 8 months of my life. And even in my darkest hour, I somehow, if I was asked to honestly say, I just knew it was all going to be okay. I knew my worries and my fretting was kind of unnecessary. I knew that everything was happening the way it was supposed to. How did I know? I don't know. I just know. And I have a feeling you just know as well. And the main purpose of this video is to kind of confirm what you probably already feel inside of yourself. Hopefully that happened. Hope you're feeling better about the breathing. Did you remember, huh? Did you remember to keep breathing slowly? Most of you probably forgot. I forgot as well. It's okay. But those who did, please let me know in the comments how that felt. And remember, your simple breath can allow you to navigate these periods much more smoothly and gracefully. So thank you so much for watching and stopping by the channel. Happy to have you. Hope you're doing great, and I'll see you soon. Peace.